Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're heading way back to the late 19th century. Think British Empire at its peak. Battlefields in Africa, Afghanistan.
Right. And if you really want to get a feel for British power back then, forget the maps for a second. Look at the tech.
Exactly. Specifically the tech in the hands of the soldiers. And that means looking at the rifle. The Martini Henry.
It really became this icon, didn't it? A symbol of industrial might, imperial reach. The sources pin its official adoption to 1871.
And it replaced the old Snyder Enfield. But calling it just an upgrade, that doesn't quite capture it, does it?
No, not at all. It's like saying, a Model T was just a slightly better horse-drawn cart. It was a different beast entirely.
So our mission today, unpack the sources, dig into the mechanics, and really show how this one weapon, this Martini Henry, fundamentally changed warfare.
It was absolutely a transitional piece of kit, made that huge leap from slow muzzle-loading guns to something much closer to what we think of as a modern rifle-fast breech loading.
The British military clearly saw the writing on the wall in the 1860s, the 70s. Technology was moving fast.
They needed speed, definitely, but also power. And crucially, reliability. The Martini Henry, well, that was the answer they landed on, delivered both with pretty devastating consequences for their opponents.
Okay, let's get into the guts of it then. The mechanics, because that's where the genius really lies and, well, where the name comes from.
It is. You look at it and, yeah, it's beautifully made. Solid walnut stock, elegant lines, typical British engineering of the time. Very functional.
But the innovation wasn't just skin deep, it was internal.
It really was a collaboration. Two key innovations, two names. First, you've got the action itself, that falling block mechanism. That was Friedrich von Martini's contribution.
The falling block. What made that so special?
Its simplicity, mainly, and how effectively it sealed the breech. When you work the lever, the block dropped, you load the round, you close it, and bang, it creates this perfectly sealed chamber. Instantly.
And that seal is vital, right? Because with older guns, you'd get gas leakage, wasted energy.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You lose pressure, you lose velocity, you lose consistency. The falling block just slid down, locked tight. Maximize the oomph from the cartridge.
Which was important, given the size of the round it fired.
Oh, absolutely. Huge cartridge. But that tight seal also helped with the rate of fire. But, okay, a fast action isn't everything. You need to hit what you're aiming at.
Right. Which brings us to the Henry part of Martini Henry.
Alexander Henry. He designed the rifling. A very specific pattern, 7 grooves, polygonal shape. It spun the bullet just right for consistent accuracy.
So Martini for the speed and the seal, Henry for the accuracy.
You got it. That combination, it was lethal. Fast top rate, dependable and accurate over distance. That metallic click-clack when you worked the lever wasn't just a sound, it was, well, it signified efficiency. Power on demand.
Let's talk about that power, because the sources really hammered this home. The ammunition. That enormous .577-450 caliber cartridge.
Yeah, I mean, look at the numbers. It's a beast, almost half an inch in diameter. This wasn't designed for plinking cans.
No. This was designed for stopping power, period.
Think about the context. The British were often fighting forces that used mass charges. Think Zulu warriors, Afghan tribesmen, coming at you fast, close range.
So you needed something that didn't just wound, but physically stopped someone in their tracks.
Exactly. The sheer kinetic energy transfer from that heavy .577-450 slug, it was devastating. Even a less than perfect hit could knock an attacker down. That was the whole point. Stop the charge before it reaches your line.
But surely firing something that powerful, it must have kicked like a mule. Were there downsides for the soldier using it?
Oh, absolutely. The recoil was brutal. Accounts consistently mention bruised shoulders, headaches after prolonged firing. It wasn't comfortable.
I can imagine.
And logistically, think about carrying those massive rounds. Heavy brass, heavy lead. You couldn't carry as many compared to, say, later rifles with smaller calibers. It was a real trade-off.
So incredible stopping power, but at the cost of shooter comfort and how much ammo you could carry?
That's the compromise.
Yeah.
Power versus practicality.
Which leads us nicely into its actual performance on the battlefield. That speed difference you mentioned? Compared to the old muzzle loaders.
It wasn't just an improvement, it was revolutionary. Imagine you're a soldier fumbling with a Snyder Enfield, ramrod, percussion cap, maybe 3 rounds a minute if you're good and lucky.
Okay.
Now, the Martini Henry. A trained soldier could get off 10, maybe 12 rounds per minute.
12 rounds. That's quadrupling the rate of fire, essentially. An infantry line becomes almost like a wall of lead.
Pretty much. It fundamentally changed the volume of fire a unit could produce, and that wasn't just spray and pray either.
Right, because you had the Henry rifling, the accuracy.
Effective range was easily over 400 yards. Think about the psychological impact. Your enemy can accurately hit you from a distance where your own weapons are practically useless.
It forces them into impossible situations. Either stay back and get picked off, or charge into that wall of fire you mentioned.
Exactly. It dictates the terms of the fight. This is where you see gun-making shift from just making something go bang reliably to precision engineering aimed at solving specific tactical problems, maximizing velocity, accuracy, rate of fire.
The rifle itself starts influencing military doctrine, how you fight.
Definitely. Small numbers of troops could potentially hold off much larger forces, that whole thin red line concept. Well, the Martini Henry helped make that viable.
And this is where the rifle moves from being just hardware into, well, legend. Its reputation wasn't forged in workshops, but in places like Zululand and Afghanistan.
Those were its proving grounds. In Afghanistan, that long-range accuracy was crucial in the mountains. But the most iconic moment, the one everyone remembers, has to be Rourke's drift during the Anglo-Zulu War.
Yes, Rourke's drift. It's almost unbelievable when you read about it. Fewer than 150 British soldiers, many wounded.
Holding off something like 4,000 Zulu warriors, wave after wave.
And the sources, the accounts from the battle.
Yeah.
They emphasized the sheer rate of fire.
They had to maintain it. Non-stop. Cycling those actions so fast, the reports say the wooden forends started smoking from the barrel heat. Barrels got too hot to touch.
That speaks volumes about the rifle's reliability, doesn't it? That the Martini action could keep working under that kind of intense, continuous use, probably getting fouled, definitely overheating.
It proved the design was incredibly robust. It could handle the absolute ragged edge of combat conditions, stuff you could never replicate on a firing range. That relentless, accurate firepower was the only thing that allowed that tiny garrison to survive.
It created this huge technological imbalance. The Zulus just couldn't overcome it, despite incredible bravery. Rourke's drift cemented the Martini Henry's place in military history.
Absolutely. It wasn't just a good rifle. It became a symbol of survival against impossible odds.
So fast forward to today. When collectors or historians look at a Martini Henry, what does it represent beyond just, an old gun?
It's definitely a tangible connection to that whole era, the British Empire, exploration, conflict. But technically, it's really interesting, too. It represents that final, perfected stage of the single-shot, black powder military rifle, right before the big jump to repeaters like the Lee Metford, and then smokeless powder.
Right, the cusp of another major change.
It's that bridge.
So summing up then, the Martini Henry. It's more than just brass and steel and walnut. It's a pivotal piece of technology.
Yeah.
It embodies that transition from the old ways, the slow muzzle loaders, to the dawn of modern rapid-fire weaponry.
That's the heart of it. Speed, precision, reliability. It set a new standard. And the core principles of that falling block action. Simple, strong, creating a perfect seal. That thinking still influences single-shot rifle designs even today. Its engineering legacy is surprisingly long.
So next time you see one, maybe in a museum display case, don't just see an antique. See the ingenuity Martini's action, Henry's rifling that came together to create something that didn't just equip an army, but genuinely reshaped how battles were fought, how empires expanded. It shows how one technological leap can dramatically alter history.
Which makes you wonder, doesn't it? If the Martini Henry represented such a clear, decisive advantage back then, redefining courage and conquest, what are the equivalent foundational technologies, maybe ones we overlook, that are subtly reshaping strategic power and conflict right now in our own time? Something to think about.